All right, now staying on with more news from the United States of America, where the Democrat Party appears to be on a roll. It is having a bit of a dream run that few people expected. After scoring a big victory in New York's mayoral polls, the blue team has also swept the governor elections in the states of Virginia and New Jersey. In a historic moment for Virginia, the Democrat Abigail Spanberger has been elected as the state's first woman governor. The former congresswoman upstaged the Republican Winsome Earl-Sears. She will now succeed the Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin. Speaking to her supporters, Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger said that it is their time to lead.
Virginia, now it is our time to lead. Tonight, it's hard not to reflect on the nearly 2-year journey that we've taken together on this campaign.
The Democrat also said that the government shutdown is adversely impacting the job market in Virginia, while urging the lawmakers and President Donald Trump to make real progress on bringing the shutdown to an end. The Democrat juggernaut also spilled on to New Jersey as well, as the state voted its second woman governor in the form of Democrat Mikie Sherrill. Now, Sherrill toppled the Trump-backed Republican candidate Jack Ciattarelli to secure the victory. Now, the naval veteran will succeed the incumbent Democrat governor, Phil Murphy. Interestingly, this will be the first time since 1961 that the one party has won 3 consecutive governor elections in New Jersey. The Democrat flag soared from coast to coast as the state of California, too, was also soaked in a sea of blue. The Californians in the state voted in favor of Proposition 50, the proposal that will now allow the Democrat lawmakers the power to redraw the state's congressional map. Now, the victory in the redistricting elections will give the Democrats an edge in California ahead of next year's midterm elections. And following the victory, California Governor Gavin Newsom celebrated the victory, saying that they stood tall against the American President Donald Trump's recklessness.
And let me underscore, it's been a good evening. We stood tall and we stood firm in response to Donald Trump's recklessness. And tonight, after poking the bear, this bear roared with an unprecedented turnout in a special election with an extraordinary result.
All right, so these are, of course, some pretty interesting trends. Remember, a lot of people have said that this has been a sort of a referendum on Donald Trump's performance in the last 10 months. Is it a reflection of Donald Trump's flagging popularity, or is the Democrat camp reading too much in these victories that it has managed to get? These are some of the crucial issues that need to be looked at. Donald Trump, of course, has said that he was not on the ballot, and therefore his MAGA followers were not enthused enough to come and vote the Republicans to put up some kind of a stout resistance. Because remember, when Donald Trump swept to victory in the presidential elections, the Democrat Party was in all kinds of trouble. Is this now the beginning of the offshoots of the Democrat resurgence? Is this what is going to help the Democrat Party to try and put up a pretty credible performance in the midterm elections? Or is the Trump MAGA wave still intact in steamrolling all the opposition that it may come up across? Have the Democrats presented an alternate view of governing the nations? These are some of the questions for which the American electorate, of course, is awaiting an answer. And also in the lead up to the midterm elections next year, there are some very interesting things that are happening. Proposition 50 in California is probably an indicator of the things to come, where California has now approved this idea of redrawing the map of the state of California to try and gain an advantage on the other party. And to tell us more in terms of what, of course, are the trends that we are looking at in terms of how this election will impact the larger American politics, we joined the broadcast by Mr. Christopher Hale, who is a Democrat strategist. He has worked with past presidents such as Barack Obama and Joe Biden at the White House while they were on the campaign trail. Mr. Hale, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Beyond. Now, this is an interesting sort of a moment. The Republicans seem to have come a bit of a cropper in these elections. Democrats may not have expected that they would, of course, sweep through in the manner that they've done. But are these victories on the back of something that the Democrats have done right? Or is it simply because the Republicans, as Donald Trump has said, Trump was not in the ballot and therefore it was an easy victory for the Democrats? How do you read these victories?
Look, I think the big thing that I always look at with politics is thermostatic, especially here in the United States. When things move a little bit too conservative, the progressives start to do better. When things get a little bit too progressive, the conservatives start to do better. Donald Trump's approval ratings are quite low in the United States, and particularly on the key issues of the economy, which was his best issue during his first presidency. His numbers are quite low there. So last night's results are not unexpected. I think we talked about Virginia and we talked about New Jersey, and there's a 20-point swing in Virginia and about a 15-point swing in New Jersey. But I think the even bigger story is what happened in these local races in Georgia for Public Service Commissioner. You had Democrats win seats in rural Georgia. So that really tells me that there is deep dissatisfaction with President Trump. You asked whether or not this is a sign of the strength for the Democratic Party. I think the strength last night for the party was twofold. Number one, I think we actually ran quite good candidates, especially in those gubernatorial races. People can fight about Mr. Mamdani in New York City. Is he too progressive? Of course, it's the most democratic city really in the world. But I think they're good candidates. They're good on TV. They're good messengers. They sell themselves well. They're disciplined. And also to the thing, the second thing is that we ran candidates that really fit their districts. We had two really moderates in New Jersey and in Virginia, and we had a Democratic Socialist in New York City.
Right.
The Democratic Party to win going forward should not just be one thing, it should be many things. And I think that was really the success of last night. We were able to be many things.
Interesting. You seem to be fairly optimistic of the results that have come up. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Christopher Hale, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you so much.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.